I'm Anne Panther. I'm from Germany. I'm a referee in basketball. And in my normal life, I'm working in the management of a hospital and I'm responsible for the employees. The change to become a referee, it was like a process because I recognized as a player during the playing time that I'm watching the games more as a referee instead of a player. I had to be focused as a player, but I was checking all the time, okay, where are the referees, what they are doing, what do they decide, how they move, how they communicate, and that was the time when I recognized, maybe you are more a referee instead of a player.
Roger, Mate Bolthauser, Boris Rizik, and Anne Panther. Those are the three referees for tonight.
Well, in a city founded by a king from a region that has never hosted a EuroLeague final, the two most decorated princes of European basketball start their quest to wrest another European crown.
I'm Winfried Ginschel. I'm National FIBA instructor for German Federation. So today is the third final of game Bayern Munich against Alba. Final games are always a thrilling thing in our career because, you know, you feel the pressure from the teams, you feel the pressure from the public, you feel the pressure from the press, and now we are working with the referees. And of course, everybody knows that refereeing is one of the most difficult parts in our job. Anne and I, we met about a decade ago in a first division women game. This was our first match together. I was there as an observer, and she was the first time that I saw her on the court.
I started in the north of Germany, in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. So I was officiating there 8 years. Then I was allowed to go to a tournament, to a youth tournament, where some coaches were there watching for some talented referees. So I was 23 during this time. And they told me maybe you can make a next step for the next level. So I started to work and I became referee in I think it was the 5th level in Germany. And they started to work with me, they coached me, and I got some better games. I got a lot of invitations for some tournaments. And then they put me in the potential program. And I was coached through all the levels until the 1st level. When I reached the 1st level, it was the season 2011-2012. And during the last 4 years, it was unbelievable. It was like an airplane which was going up and never stopped.
You have the idea and you can feel that in your stomach that something is possibly going on with her, and even in those days you can see that she's very ambitious. This is also a problem. If you always want to be perfect, this sometimes make you worse than your normal performance is if you're being relaxed and a reasonable person and professional in that way.
When I was thinking about, okay, I'm officiating in 1st division in Germany, I thought there will never be a woman in some final games, there will never be a woman as a crew chief. And when it happens, it was like, oh my God, it's possible. So maybe something more. And okay, I never thought really about, okay, what will be the next step? But I was ready to receive more. These moments to recognize also when I received the phone call from the EuroLeague, if I'm interested to become a referee. And it's like a small dream came true, but I never dreamed about it. So it was like, I thought it's not possible for me, but these things happened. I was nervous, I was proud, I was very focused, but I was also a little bit, let's say, afraid. if I can do it, because I was watching some games before, I was watching also the year before, and I thought, oh my God, it's very, very fast, they are so athletic. The biggest challenge at the beginning was the speed and to recognize, okay, which calls are necessary and when you should keep out your whistle or the mouse.
I'm Natalie and I work in sports event management in various areas, mainly basketball, but a lot of athletics, football, tennis, canoe slalom at the London Olympics and stuff like that. I'm currently here in Reims in France and I'm working for the FIFA Women's World Cup 2019. We are women working in basically a men's world, and you sometimes definitely need someone that thinks like you when you are working in this mainly ruled by men world of sports. What is definitely a connection for the two of us, we work in the same world. And it was funny because I was pretty sure she was going to be in the Final Four, just because I had a feeling that it was the time. And then when the nominations came out, I said, yes, I knew you'd be in. And she said, yeah, well, I didn't.
It was Friday afternoon when I received a phone call by Richard, and he said something like, yeah, you are at the Final Four. And I was really surprised because I didn't expect it. And I asked him, my first question was, are you sure? And he was surprised and he was like, okay, wait, I will check. Yes, I'm sure you are at the Final Four. And I was shocked, I was happy, I was proud. All the emotions came together and it was like, oh, okay, I couldn't speak anymore, and I was really, really happy.
Well, you know, from our staff that we use in the regular season, we select a much smaller group for the playoffs. And, you know, usually that would be around, 16, 18, 20 officials, depending on the competition system. So, first of all, we've got to have referees that are good enough to be in that top group to go to the playoffs. And, Anna broke into that group. And I think once you're in that group, you're then under consideration, for the 8 officials that we'll take to the Final Four. There's a couple of considerations, within that in terms of, nationality, depending on the nationality of the clubs that get to the Final Four, because we've got to ensure, that the neutrality is protected. But, I think once you're in that 18 group, you're really much under consideration for the 8 group that will go to the Final Four.
There were some people who told me, I cannot do this, I will never reach this level. I really didn't receive an answer why, so it was very hard to get this message. When I received the message that I'm not a good person, so that my behavior is not good, because during this time I thought I have to be like a man, I have to behave like a man, I have to do something special. So I was not polite, I was not a team player. And I wanted to show my colleagues, for example, that I'm not weak. You're not better when you start to be somebody else instead of you. It's okay to be a woman also in men's sports. These 3 things in these moments when I was thinking about to stop were the things which makes me to struggle to think about to be a referee or not. And during this time it was very important to have some friends and my mentor around me. They gave me advices to work on my quality, to work on my athletic, and also how I can become a better person. So that was, I would say, the main point in my career, which helps me a lot to become the referee who I am now.
come on in. Come and sit on this side.
Good evening. Hi, nice to meet you.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to Vitoria-gasteiz. Welcome to this year's Final Four. Everyone here has been selected on the merit of the work that they carried out this season. You know, are there excellent referees in the EuroLeague? Yes. Are there other people that had great seasons? Yes. But we believe in selecting the 8 referees for this tournament that we have the best combination of experience, high level officiating, and people that have earned their spot during the season based on their ability and their work and their performance. So if there was a better referee based on that, they would be here. But they're not, and you are. So thank you very much for your work this season. I really appreciate everything you've done, but we still have 4 more games. For the second semi-final, CSKA Moscow against Real Madrid. The crew chief is Matej Bolthauser. Umpire 1 is Boris Rizik. Umpire 2, Anne Panther. And the standby will be Fernando Rocha. I don't need to tell you how important these games are. I know they're important for you because I know what it means to be at a Final Four. All I can ask you is that you give your best efforts on the court over the weekend, whichever game you have, and you participate as part of the team if you're the standby. See you at dinner at 8:30. Thank you very much. You know, Anna wasn't the first woman in the EuroLeague. You know, she's one of a number that have been through the system, and I think, you know, the quality of her work was easy to see from day one. You know, she's very positive. She has great poise, you know, character, personality, if you want to call it that. But, you know, in the right quantities. So, you know, she's a very humble person, and I think it's very clear because she played. You know, she knows what the values the players have and how the game's going to be played, and therefore her empathy for what they're doing is also at a pretty high level. Of course, you have to recognise that there's more pressure on everyone. So, you know, the players and the coaches are under that much more pressure. So I don't think it's about changing our criteria. I think it's about understanding the pressure that everyone's under, having the right level of empathy, but also having the right level of communication to keep people, you know, in check, to keep them in the right place, to make sure that the focus is on the playing of the game and not any other things going on around it.
After they published the nomination, I received many messages, especially also from other females around the world. Okay, most of the times it was like, okay, congratulations, you are opening a door, we are very proud of you, and it's a very important step for us as females in sport. And of course it's a little bit like another kind of pressure. Okay, you have some different kind of pressure because also the teams are under another kind of pressure. They are more nervous. It's a do-or-die game. And these games, they have a special rhythm and special energy, and it's totally different in the emotions. So this is the main aspect. So if something goes wrong, the emotions you receive, they're much more higher.
So you worked the first game?
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody?
Yes. Probably.
So tell us, any problems with the equipment?
No, everything okay.
We prepared for all things which could happen during the game. We know these 2 teams very well. They have played together 2 times this season already in the regular season. So yeah, we sat together, we watched some clips, or we speak about the tactics which could be done on the court. We prepare, let's say, prepared in advance how to react and what to do.
It's a special feeling, but I try to focus on the normal job and not to get everything. I enjoy the presentation before the game starts, this show when the lights go down. It's a special moment every time. But during this moment, I also close my eyes and try to visualize as much situations as possible. So let's say goaltending violation, traveling, 24-second violation, normal defensive foul, offensive foul, unsportsmanlike foul. I try to visualize some short clips in front of me to be ready if it happens on the court, that I'm ready to call it immediately. So focus on the job, don't think about anything. So I switch off my brain and just go on the court and do the job as a referee.
Princes of European basketball start their quest to wrest another European crown. And the first possession to the Whites, it's Los Blancos of Real Madrid against the Horses of CSKA, as CSKA settle into man-to-man defense.
Focused on her right at the start of the game, because you want to see how they react to the ball being thrown up and the game actually starting. And you know, it took a couple of minutes for Anne to get her first call. It was a foul call, and I could see immediately, you know, that she was a little bit tense, which is to be expected. But I think that's normal. I think, you know, we wouldn't be human if we weren't a little bit tense or with the adrenaline running, you know, in such an important game. And I think actually, as an official or a player, as a coach, you need that. I mean, you kind of need that buzz to get started, and then hopefully you can get into your rhythm of the game. And she certainly did that.
I am focused on my job, so I know, okay, I'm the referee on this position, okay, which team has the ball, which team has the possession, okay, I have to go there, and then I start to check, okay, is the time running, is the arrow on the right side, where are my colleagues, so then the first checkup starts, so I'm immediately with the toss, I'm in my job. There would be many moments, for sure. The start of the game, the first calls, the reactions of the players, the communication, or when I call the backcourt violation with Lul on the court and he shows me his hand, so okay, I helped him to come up. And these are moments I really like, or when we had the situation when we call jump ball or foul. So he also said, you called a jump ball. And I was like, yeah, but it was a foul, and okay, high five. So this is some kind of communication which shows, okay, they respect your job, they understand maybe also you make mistakes, but it's fine, and we are on a court, it's sport, it's a game, let's go on.
She had some very tough calls and correct calls. The most emotional call was with the technical foul to Pablo. He did a thing which is not in sportsmanlike behavior, but at the moment of the game they were very, very emotional. So also I went there and I spoke with them.
I remember the situation because before was a situation with a free throw and there was some signal, a horn or something like this, and the player, in our opinion, got struggled. That's why he missed the basket, and we decided to repeat. And the coach, Pablo Laszlo, was not happy about this. We had a discussion, but finally, okay, he was not happy, but he accepted what we did. And after the player made the basket, he threw something behind the bench. So, and for me it was like, okay, throwing something, it's over the limit, it's attack. After the game, I had the feeling that was not the right moment. So I didn't felt very comfortable with this. I can say it was not the last decision in the game. It was 6 minutes to go. It's one shot. It's not shots and possession and everything. But the conclusion for me was it was not the right moment. So if I could officiate this game again, I wouldn't give the tag. I would handle this situation in a different way.
If she comes to the Final Four again, you know, it'll be different. There'll be pressure, but it will be more regular pressure, if that makes sense. But she performed very well under that pressure. You know, did she make a perfect job? No, but then I've never seen a perfect job from the referees or the players or the coaches. You know, players make mistakes, coaches make mistakes, and certainly, you know, our people make mistakes as well. I think the most important thing is we don't have, you know, mistakes that decide games in the last second of the game. That's not what we want. But I think within the terms of the pressure she was under, in the terms of the job she had to do, she did a pretty solid job.
I strongly believe we, like a crew, we did a good job. Nowadays, the crew is more important than one person among the crew. And I think it was very, very, very difficult game. Referees are human beings and we do mistakes. Our accuracy for the info is around 90 to 93% per game. So it's a very high percentage if you compare to shots made by the players or the free throws even. So this few percent with the mistake is in every game. But the most important thing that is the same for the both teams. And after watching the game also on TV today, it was like that, so it was a good job.
Of course, it's hard, but the most things you are learning out of mistakes. So if you don't fail to recognize this, you will be much more stronger after that. I was also speaking with Richard, and he said the same. Next time you will be much more experienced, so you are able to handle situations in a different way. Also, but this is the same in every game. After the games, I analyze everything, the good things, also the bad things. And the bad things, I try to find out why it happens and to find the key for next time not to do it again. I watch every game, yes, and I normally scout every decision, calls or no calls. And if I recognize it was that I missed something or I called something what didn't happen, I try to find out why. Normally I know immediately during the game what was wrong or what was right, and I also know immediately why it happened. But I would say if nobody's talking after the game about the referees, that we don't have the final decision which is wrong and decides the game. And winning is okay if you have a high percentage of good decisions, and finally nobody is talking about you after the game.
I think in the end we should be talking about, you know, do we have the best officials? But I don't think, you know, we need to make a statement about, you know, getting more women into basketball officiating at the EuroLeague level. I think we have to make a statement about having the best officials. And, you know, if there's other officials out there at the same level as Anna, then we'll probably bring them in. And I think that's really what it's about.
Now, I think the biggest step, of course, was that I'm officiating the Final Four in the EuroLeague. I know I'm the first woman. And I hope that maybe in the future there will be somebody else, or also the players and the coaches, they respect what we are doing. They see that I'm not only a girl on the court who tries to officiate. They recognize me now as a referee, and they respect me now as a referee. And we cannot win, we cannot lose, I know, but if we have only a very small number of mistakes, if nobody is talking about the referees, if everybody was able to enjoy the game, the players, the fans, and also the referees, how they work, even if it was the toughest game, let's say like my last game, so it should be the best one I've ever done. And maybe with this I can reach the next, and I'm open for the next steps.